truth. Hey, don't you get in my way. I don't care what they say. I just have to be me, individual. Tell me why I have to be anything I don't feel. All I wanna be is individual.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
26 of the best open-wheel drivers in sim racing come together to compete for the Grand Prix Turn Racing iRacing Series Championship and the $10,000 grand prize that comes along with it. In 10 weeks' time, we find out who walks away defeated and who walks away a champion.
When the margins are finer, when the boundaries are reduced, when the stakes get raised, it is street circuits that split the good from the great. And here at the Motor City Detroit Belle Isle, we kickstart the second half of the championship, knowing that 5 races from now, we will have a champion. Your Turn Racing Grand Prix iRacing Series heads itself to Belle Isle. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside with me Kenneth Bueno and Peter Mackay. Peter, welcome back. What an incredible circuit this is. This is going to be a firecracker of a race.
And what we're looking for here in this Turn GP iRacing Grand Prix Series is a complete champion. We've got full Grade 1 FIA Grand Prix circuits, we've got ovals, but you have to have street circuits as well. It's a key skill, it's a very challenging affair at these types of circuits, and I can't wait to see who comes out on top and who challenges the best.
I can't either. Kenneth, you talk about this circuit, this Detroit circuit. It is tight, it is compact, and we thought about it coming onto the show here tonight, that it was qualifying that was going to be the most important key to success today.
Well, at a street circuit as really narrow and tight as Detroit Belle Isle, you have to have track position. And as we were watching qualifying, we took note of some of the large names that are fighting for this year's championship, either at the top of the board or further down the order. Przemysław Lemonek and the other driver in that mix for the championship with him in terms of what appears to be, it was Marcos Nunes further up, but it was David Toth. Both of them starting outside of the top 5 this afternoon. And here's a look at the schedule. Already multiple different winners. The championship is starting to tighten up. Detroit Belle Isle throws another wrench into the strategy for the entire field over the season.
But what a rundown this is in terms of the championship, Peter. You think coming out of today at Detroit, we'll be heading over to the Fuji International Speedway. Couldn't get more chalk and cheese. Red Bull Ring Pocono Monza. It's a high-speed end to the championship.
Very, yeah, it was seriously tough end to the championship as well. Lots that could play out, and Lemonek leads the points at the moment with but the amount of different winners that we've had, well, it's anybody's guess.
It's anybody's guess, but you'd say if you're within 40 points, you've still got a shot of this championship. We're at that halfway stage. You can very easily see the swings and roundabouts of a season go through. 5 drivers in with a shot of taking the championship lead coming out of tonight here at Detroit, with Eduardo Leo needing the fastest lap bonus point in order to match Lemonek in terms of points. But let's take a look, Kenneth, at what makes Detroit Belle Isle so special. It brings itself on this brilliant island. You've got the fantastic cargo ship there on the right-hand side, but it winds in and amongst itself on public roads. It is a difficult place to pass today.
It is very difficult not only to pass, but to drive. 2 things about this track. One is that it's the first street course race of the season. It's the only time we'll ever see a track like this on the schedule, and it's one of 3 American tracks throughout the season. The other 2 are ovals. This is the only road course. It's brash, and it is not afraid to show it. 2.35 miles of absolute physicality here at Detroit is going to test the 26 in this field this afternoon and going to show who can survive the longest over the course of the race.
There is no room to rest on this circuit, and this is how they stacked up from qualifying. The 2-time winner this season, Florian Lebigra, has taken the pole position. He'll have Marcos Nunes third in the championship alongside the company for VRS. Ben Fuller lines up third with Simone Maria Marceno in 4th position. Michele Costantini and Eduardo Leo, last time's out winner at Zandvoort, starts in 6th. Pablo Espes goes 7th with Jakub Maciejewski in 8th. The sister car and championship leader, Przemysław Lemonek, is out of position, is in 9th with a main rival next to him, Jarl Tyen, for Bordeaux Sud Plus competition in 10th. Manuel Cubo Torres starts 11th with Carlos Fenollosa in 12th position. Xabi Rose will have Gael Valero in the number 33 car in 4th place. Michael Janney then follows Tamas Simon with David Toth, poor qualifying by his standards, but was only 6/10 off the pace. He starts then from 17th there with Kalen Chin. Daniel Sibichabo and Jakob Behrens follows on with Matt Emery and Jeffrey Decker. Charles Sears has Jacob Reed for company there on the 23rd and 24th positions. Leading the final 2 drivers, Matteo Calistani for Mag Performance and Jan Hoffman for Vortex Sim Racing. Rounding out the grid, overall finishes are prioritized here today, Peter, but one thing is for certain, it's gonna be a cold one.
Yeah, it is, and I think that will really help the drivers with the tyre life. We don't expect high tyre degradation here at Detroit Belle Isle, but that cooler temperature will certainly open up more options for the tyres.
Yeah, and as they stack themselves up, they've got 2 minutes to start and get themselves gridded, or they could make the choice to start from pit lane, and that might not be a bad decision here today with how frantic the opening laps can be. The run to turn 3 could be the most vital, and it's one of the shortest runs to turn 1 they will have all season long, so expect this to be a real fire starter as we get ourselves ready. It's 38 laps worth of racing action that we've got stacked up ready. Green flag in the air, and we are off here from Detroit as they rush on through the early stages of this race. 3 drivers start today on the soft compound tyres. They rush up over the river there through turn 2 and now driving over towards turn 3. The challenge is immediate then for Lebigra as he had Marcos Nunez there for company trying to use the soft early. That's not happening as they all just about skate through 3 and 4 here, Kenneth, rushing up through the middle sector.
It's so thin around this circuit, and you can tell right off the jump, turns 1 and 2, the entire field elected to go single file. They were having none of going side by side around the first sector of this course. Already a challenge for the lead. Marcos Nunez, one of the 2 drivers in the top 5 on softs, and he tags the barrier into Florian Lebigra. They're going to catch another Ben Fuller, and with all of the chaos at this sector, Simone Maria Marcino, Jake Sperry takes away the lead.
He managed to find a way through. Disaster there for the top 3 in this opening run forward. You could not ask for anything worse. Going through the very tight turn 7 into turn 8. It all stacked up with a very aggressive Marcos Nunez who knew that overtaking was important. Simone is away on soft tyres, Peter.
Yeah, great opportunity here for Marceno on those soft tyres with clear air ahead. He can now build this gap even further, make full use of those soft tyres. This is the first racetrack where we believe that the soft tyres are actually really going to work in race conditions, but this is Christmas Day come early for Marceno.
I tell you what, he couldn't be any more happy with what went through. The top 3 all found themselves with contact on the opening lap of this race. Ben Fuller still somehow is managing to keep it going in second as it went through. Here's a look, Kenneth, at how it happened. Marcos Nunez, too aggressive into 7, can carry the speed, and just like that, it's pretty much a bottleneck, and you're praying you get through.
And at the exit of turn 7, you watch on your left side for Marcos Nunez. That wall comes out of nowhere. Overcooked it on the brakes, went too far. And this track, there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. So for Florian Lebigra, he had nowhere else to escape. Gets a bit of the contact, and again, Lebigra ends up on the short end of the stick here from Detroit Belle Isle. And the others that get involved, well, they either have to hop on the brakes or they just get that damage and brace for impact. Nothing more you can do at a track this narrow.
Yeah, and Peter, as we look at this race, it is going to be all about strategy here. 38 laps, and already we're seeing how crucial it is going to be to play the strategy to its limits.
Yeah, there are lots of different ways you can skin the cat here as well. You do have to change tyre compound. We believe the 2 main strategies will either be start on the medium, run a full tank of fuel right up to lap 25, then switch to the hard tyre. Also, you might even see the soft being put on there too, or start on the soft like Marceno has done to a 12-lap sprint, and then the medium to the end of the race. Lots of different ways. I think those are the 2 main options, but I don't think they'll be the only options.
We were talking about this earlier, Kenneth, how important it was for these drivers to get a lot of fuel in the car, and that's because of how twitchy this machine is, and the fuel gives them extra downforce and extra use of the ground effect in these cars.
Yeah, it makes the car a little heavier, and at a track that has this amount of bumps and this amount of juts in and out everywhere on this circuit, once the car gets lighter, it's going to be way harder to drive over the course of the run. So you definitely want to make sure that the most fuel is put on this car. It gives you the most downforce and gives you a faster lap in turn. So we'll keep an eye on exactly how the drivers are going to play this fuel strategy over 38 laps. And as Peter was talking about through the race analysis, these guys can go rather far and they might extend it all the way, but the placement of the fuel is going to be all the more important. As here's David Toth led in a pack by Carlos Fenollosa, battle for 11th on the way, and David Toth, Jake, with a nice pickup from 17th on the starting grid. He needs some points if he wants to maintain second in the standings, as here he comes outside turn 7.
Can't find the angle there. Simone's gone double purple lap upon lap. He's found that, but David Toth is going to need positions, and immediately he's finding out that he's on the wrong end of the stick. They're already 5 seconds behind 10th place Gael Vieiro. He's nowhere is the SDK Gaming driver in comparison just there, and another fastest lap by Simone as he puts a 104.7 down on the board, absolutely torching his soft tyres at the moment. Big power move to the inside, looking for it, turn 1, little wiggle going through by Fenollosa, still got the inside at 2, but no drive.
Wow, what a move there from David Toth, sitting second in the standings right now, but has to make big moves forward as things stand, and he has made a great move there at turn 1. You don't see that pulled off very often, but at the front, Marciano making full use of those soft tyres and extending the gap up to 3 seconds now as we ride with Daniel Civisabo.
Daniel Civisabo is looking around thinking, what do these Stormforce gaming cars have to do to move forward? They're 13th and 14th. He's got his teammate Michael Janney just in front of him, the American, who will want to try and jump up the train. But the good thing about having someone like Daniel Civisabo at the moment, he has a massive kick of oversteer going through turn 8 there, Kenneth, is that he can play rear cover. Look at how he has to fight the car.
He really has to get, again, what I mentioned, the absolute physicality of driving here at Detroit Belle Isle. It is not the typical Grand Prix circuit where there are going to be smoother surfaces out there, and it's going to be a little easier to drive. Civisabo, a best look on board as to how tough it is to drive here at Detroit Belle Isle. And Simone Maria Marciano, how about another fastest lap put in by the driver of the 27? He is giving nothing else to the rest of the field. He wants all of it, and he's taking control early.
He eats fastest laps for breakfast at the moment, 4 straight. He has found as Tam Ashton there in the background made the pass on Carlos Fenollosa there. The Veloce Vex team a little bit down here today in terms of pace, but the move there by the Hungarian getting past the Spaniard, and now that leads Matt Emery into position. You can really sense that someone there like Fenollosa is going the wrong way. Talk about drivers who are going the right way. Championship leader, Peter. Przemysław Lemonek, he's in 4th.
Yeah, I think Lemonek picked up a few positions in that melee on the opening lap and made full use of it as Simone Maria Marciano, he's laying down the law right now. 5 fastest laps in a row, and you look at the lean he's got there in the cockpit. That's Gilles Villeneuve-esque, and of course this is one of the circuits where we saw it just like with street circuits where Gilles was always a master, so he's channeling his inner Gilles Villeneuve there.
I tell you what, this circuit is a real challenge because you consider, Kenneth, how much you run of this track. A lot of the outside lines that you run through are parking spaces, so they're seldom run and get very dusty.
Yeah, they do, and you build up a lot of that dirt around the racetrack, and hence why the racetrack is so slick. You're constantly getting through these corners and the ins and outs. See those bumps right there, especially at the exit of turn 11 when you go to turn 12 and turn 13. A lot of dips on the track, so this car can easily unsettle. But unlike from what we saw with Daniel Civisabo, Marciano's car is absolutely planted. He is not correcting that car at all. It just shows you, A, how skilled he is at this track already, and B, just how greatly set up that car is early in this race and how good he's been doing over the last couple of laps. Here's second place Ben Fuller, a far cry from your leader, Jake, at around 4 seconds back. It's been pretty tough for Fuller to try and catch up to the leader.
Now, you speak of Daniel Sivi-Chabo. Here's what's happened to him through turn 5. He just catches the curb wrong too much, and he actually tags Tamas Simon with him. So a big hit, and that is Daniel Sivi-Chabo out here at Belle Isle. So he is out of this race. Ben Fuller now almost 7/10 of a second clear of Eduardo Leo. That is big in terms of his race. He needs to break away from those on the same strategy, Peter, as him. Leo, the winner last time out at Zandvoort, is someone he desperately wants to shake.
And we need to watch very closely the lap times between Martineau and Fuller, because there may well be a tipping point where Martineau's soft start to go off and Fuller's still got good life left in his medium. So to see who's got the story right, who's got the strategy right here. But Eduardo Leo, he's actually got more problems behind from championship leader Przemysław Lemonek.
Lemonek, you could argue, we were having a little joke about this at the end of last week, Kenneth. You could say his middle name might as well be Alan. He is promising that he is thinking of the championship first and foremost. He doesn't mind if he doesn't win or even finish on the podium. So long as he's beating his rivals, this is a rival he needs to beat right now, Eduardo Leo.
Well, he's beating the podium chase in terms of the rest of the field is concerned. He's got 3 podiums on the season, and that second place finish last week at Zandvoort, where, yeah, a win obviously would have been nice, but if it's second, if it keeps you up front, if you hold the fort down in the championship, that's all you need. And how about the driver in front of you that you lost to last week, Eduardo Leo, the man challenging right in front of you? So I guess a part 2 of this battle, as we look at the points, it looks like David Toth, with the way he qualified this afternoon, he's fallen back around 18 points, and you see just how far of a gap Marek Lemonek has been able to put on everybody else. But Eduardo Leo slowly catching up to David Toth, and this is going to be a pivotal point with these two 3rd and 4th on the racetrack, as here comes Lemonek, dive on the inside, but backs out before turn 1.
I tell you what, Eduardo Leo was on the radio there to Lemonek, who I think's just tagged the wall there, coming out of 2. And that might open the door for Pablo Espes. The door shut firmly on the inside, heading to turn 3. Do not fight now over the radio, said Eduardo Leo, and Lemonek very nearly had a hot head moment.
Oh, that was very, very tight indeed there for Lemonek. You will get little brushes with the wall occasionally here at Detroit, but you cannot run your luck that long, because you will end up in the fence if you just put a millimeter the wrong way. It's such a difficult driving challenge, and that is difficult enough in a GT car, let alone a 900 horsepower monster that these Dallara IRL ones are.
Oh, these are absolute behemoths out here on the iRacing service, and the proof is very much in the pudding. Here's a look in slow-mo there, bang! Oh, that's a hefty hit there, Kenneth, into the outside wall at turn 2. It's so inviting because you go up and over a bridge, and as we say that, there goes Przemysław Lemonek. He jumps up into 3rd position. Now, there was a little tap from Eduardo Leo on that last lap, exiting 6. He might have damage back as they now head in onto the brakes.
Well, it appears that the Lemonek slap to the outside wall at the exit of turn 1 or turn 2 really didn't do that much damage to him. He's still as quick as can be, and Leo is starting to fall back a bit. That's a brush of the wall entering the corner, so Espes has the opportunity to catch up. But again, it just can become so tough to make passes here at Detroit with the narrowness of the circuit and lack of opportunities to pass. There are a lot of winding sections where you can try, but more often than not, you're going to bin your car trying to make a move on the in or outside, and Espes is going to have to play his cards right. Wait a little bit longer before you can get to that long straightaway at the exit of turn 11 and try to mount something for turn 12. But it's starting to stack up everybody behind. Look at Jakub Maciejewski, car 29, the Drago Racing teammate of Lemonek, putting his name in this conversation for Car Pack.
Yeah, he's in the hat there in 6th position. He'll definitely want to go through. In comes Simone then from the race lead. He'll make his stop. He goes 11 laps full on his set of soft tyres, and onto the start of lap 12. He will most likely move to the mediums. But look at this. 3 wide with the traffic is as they now rush through. This is going to be deadly down here at turn 3. Down the inside, it all holds on well. Pablo Espes up to 3rd.
Wow, fantastic stuff there from Espes, car number 5. Lemonek's up, and he's of course moved up a position into 2nd with our leader Marceno pitting, and we're going to see how the rest get on now. Ben Fuller, he's got a good opportunity too to try and pull away at the front with his medium tyres on, but this is really could go any way of this leading 3 or 4 right now.
It really could, but the key here is that all of that scrapping here, Kenneth, Ben Fuller, you can see him there right in the distance, 2 seconds to the good.
Yeah, well, these guys have been going at it with each other, and as they were getting around that lap car, who turned out to be the Mac Performance SRT machine of Matteo Calestani, they were all stacking each other up. They're checking up for each other to make sure they don't get into them, and then all of a sudden, Ben Fuller, it just says, bye-bye, I'm waving to the rest of the field. I'm out of here. I can check out for the while before I eventually have to come down pit road. So this is only good news further for the driver of the 55, who comes off of his worst finish, Jake, of the season. 20th at Zandvoort, struggled in that race, and today at Detroit might be the turnaround as you ride on board with Fuller. Nobody in sight. You see the little speck of Lemonnick, and that's all you get.
That's all he's got, and he's definitely having to work. You can see how much he's having to fight the wheel. The force feedback here, Peter, as he has to scrap through this corner, and every single corner on this circuit. They say that street circuits are difficult for one thing. It's not nicely paved. You've got all the little ruts and bumps everywhere.
Ben Fuller usually in the cockpit looks pretty relaxed, pretty chilled out. He looks anything but right now. He's really having to physically work hard to keep the car in the, in between the walls, and you can see just how animated he is when speaking to the spotter. He's breathing heavier. That is just a really vivid demonstration of how much more of a challenge these street circuits can be.
Yeah, he is on the limit at the moment. You can see how aggressive he was there through turn 4, in through 3, now through 4, and now 5 and 6 follows here. This beautiful transfer section which leads onto Strand Drive 1. Here, this fast right hand. Oh, he tags the wall on the exit, gets away with it ever so slightly, and now you're starting to sense that this is about attrition. It's about not letting your guard down and making one mental mistake here, Kenneth.
That's the problem with these cars at a track this small, is the factor that you have to have so much sharpness mentally behind the wheel of these cars at any track, let alone a street circuit. But when you have the fine margins of a track that has walls all around and no place for runoff, you're going to end up in that place where if you do make a mistake, it's going to be a catastrophic one, and more often than not will take you out of the race. So it's just all about being able to keep the car planted on the track. But with the pace that these guys are putting up right now and how contentious the championship fight has been over this season, you can imagine that relaxing is the last thing they want to do, and it's sort of a balance they have to make between being aggressive but not overstepping either.
Lap 15 here of 38. Ben Fuller is your race leader. He leads by 3 seconds over the championship leader, Przemysław Lemnek, who leads this trio at the moment. Pablo Espes is currently in 3rd, and Eduardo Leo in 4th position is where we are with. There is Manuel Cubo Torres of Argentina, Spain, finds himself in 7th position, having a good drive, but Super Chabi Rose here is having a great drive here, Peter. Started 13th on the grid. He's already up 7 places, and he's into 6th.
Yeah, I think Chabi Ross was probably the one to benefit the most from that lap 1 pile-up, but you've got to get your way through, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Manuel Cubo Torres trying to hang on to the rear as well. These cars do kick up a bit of a draft, but really there's not much chance to actually use it here at Detroit Belle because it's so busy. Maybe a slither there coming down the front straight, but the entry speed into turn 1, it's just a marvel. I mean, if you haven't driven iRacing before, get on the service and come and try these cars because they're animals.
They absolutely are, and there is the man from Barcelona, the Catalan man, Chabi Rose, is finding out how crucial and important this phase of the race is, because it will feel like all the pressure there, and again, tags the wall slightly, coming off of the exit of 6, and it's catching people, because the exits of these corners, they're not a case of, they'll naturally move out. In fact, they do the exact opposite. Every corner, there's a jut in, it seems.
You're just playing with fire at that point, Jake, when you're so close to that wall and these guys are brushing it and they feel that it's not giving them damage on their cars. So it's like, hey, maybe if I give it a tap, it won't be the end of this race for me. I can extend it, and if it makes me faster, why not? And Chabi Rose has done a fantastic job, like you said, from starting in 13th to move up to 6th. That's some great stuff. As here's Maciejewski, fantastic pass entering turn 1, and Eduardo Leo, so that puts him a little closer to his Drago Racing teammate in Przemysław Lemnek. And Maciejewski being brave in the first 2 corners, and it pays off.
Yeah, that was very nicely done, getting that run out to 12 and 13, which opens up the attacking opportunity at turn 1. It's such a fast entry that it's pretty much as commitment as it gets. We do have a car in the pits, the 90 car of Jakob Berens making a stop, as Eduardo Leo now looks to be that driver who's trying to stay in, but he just can't hold the pace of the cars that keep passing him, Peter.
No, can't seem to. It's really beating up a lot of the drivers right now, this Detroit Belle circuit. The question is as well, if you wanted to say use the soft tyre for your final stint, you've probably got another 10 laps to go on the tyres you're on. Pretty much the entire top 15 are on mediums, so that's kind of the established tyre. So you've either got to switch onto a hard or a soft. If you're going onto the hard, well, you probably need to switch on now to really get the benefit of it. But soft, you've really got to make it last another 10 laps, because Marciano, he only lasted 11 laps on the soft at the start of the race.
But here's the big kicker, Kenneth. Last time by, Ben Fuller was 0.4 of a second faster than the fresh soft tyres of Simone Maria Marciano. Huge kick of torque going out to that corner for Eduardo Leo. He very nearly found his day in disaster. But the key here is the fuel. He's got so much fuel in the car that he cannot match the same pace on the medium.
He can, and as Ben Fuller has run the first 18 laps of this race, of course, out on the racetrack, he hasn't even looked at pit road just yet. It just means that Marciano has to wait a little longer until Fuller comes in, then has the heftier tank on his IR01, and that's when Marciano can attack. The thing for the car 27 and the man out of San Cataldo in Italy is the fact that he's 14th and way beyond everybody in front of him. Damas Shimon is about 6.5 seconds ahead. Michael Jenny is another couple of seconds in front. So the separation is monumental. And with the early stop from Marciano, it's going to mean probably problems for him, as here's a car that comes in and it looks like it kicks off the front pack coming in. Pablo Espes in the 5 makes his first stop of the race.
He might jump him here, you know. Marciano might be way down the order now in comparison. Espes is miles clear, Peter.
Well, the strategy has not worked out then for Marciano whatsoever. A second in arrears to Espes. So starting on the soft, it looked good to start with, but now not really.
Well, I'm just looking at his times. They've been low 106s, mid 105. That's not good enough if you want to stay up there. He's been hemorrhaging at least half a second a lap ever since he's got on the tyres here, Kenny.
Yeah, it's been somewhat of an opposite switch for Marciano in terms of how fast he was getting those fastest lap points in the first couple of laps, and now it's just starting to fall back little by little by little. It appears that Marciano is just going to try and lay in the bed that he's made with 19 laps to go. Of course, anything can still change, but if these guys that are pitting later are going to overcut him and be able to stay out in front by a decent margin, Marciano is in a deep hole of trouble as another car comes in. That's Kalen Chin, driver of the 19, who got his best finish last week at Zandvoort, but guess it's going to give a signal, Jake, to everybody up front that pitting time is going to be soon.
It is, and it's hard tyres which are going on the car at the moment, so that's the key for Kalen Chin in terms of how he wants to go about this race. So he'll go on and go forward. In fact, I think he might actually be one of those drivers who you've got to keep a close eye on, because on his day, he can certainly race it up there with some of the best. There is trouble. That's an Altus car into the wall there and out of the race. That's Feniosa there, Peter.
Oh dear, well, Detroit bites. It claimed another victim, and it's one of the pre-season favourites. Altus Esports were tipped to, not to dominate, but certainly to be one of the front-running crews, and it's not really gone their way this season, and that's another race gone, well, biting the dust here at Detroit.
Well, that's all of what you've got, and you certainly sense that the moment you get yourself into trouble around here, you do not have much time to get out of it, and it's so easy to be in that position of hurt. There is Jakub Maciejewski in third position, there with Eduardo Leo in fourth. Here's a look at what happened then to Feniosa. Oh, he just locks it up. He just never carried the speed there, Kenny.
Yeah, the car was not rotating at the entrance of turn 11, and that's all she wrote. You really can't pick it up once you make that mistake, and so Feniosa was too far in And that's a hit to the barrier, and his race is virtually over. Nice pass here on the inside of Simone Maria Marcinot, who's finally starting to attack on Pablo Espes here for P12, and they're bringing in Matt Emery, the British driver, in the number 34 machine at the back end of this. So this is going to get really spicy. Marcinot looking on the outside, turn 7.
It's a difficult place to pass, and he finds barrier. He gets put into the barriers there. There was some very hard racing between the two of them, and that was as close could be. It's position held for Pablo Espes, but a crucial hit there in the barriers, and you can see the rotation. It's not there on the Altus Engineering car, Peter.
Yeah, that's, well, when you go around the outside at that corner, down at the end of Strand Drive at turn 7, you always are going to run the risk of going into the wall. It really pinches down there, and that's exactly what happened, and I'd be surprised if Marcino's cars were even close to optimum right now after that hit.
That is definitely not what was wanted, and all of that has allowed Jakub Maciejewski to come in, make his stop, and he's out 1.8 seconds clear then of the number 5, Pablo Espes. So a crucial stop that has gone through. Ross, Torres, and Jarl Tyen 1.7 seconds back. Don't discount Jarl Tyen in this race, Kenneth, and in this championship. He's quietly racking the points.
He is not backing out at all, and the upper hand he has on both Marcos Nunez and David Topp with the way the race has panned out for both of those drivers. Nunez has been knocked out, and for David Topp, he's been hanging around in the field, but he has not been making a lot of statements. Jarl Tyen is, and it could gain him the maximum points needed to stay alive in the championship fight. Boy, and this Norwegian Jake has turned his season around. We talked about 10th place at Spa, then a 15th at Jerez, and then 2 third-place finishes in a row, and 8th place at Zandvoort. He is starting to pick up the momentum, and Jarl Tyen, watch him on this strategy. He's a little behind Torres and Ross for position, but he might have something in hand that could change things alternatively and get him another podium this season.
I tell you what, he is someone who can definitely score those points, and the Borussia driver is certainly looking to try and make that zebra gallivant away here from the Motor City and off to Fuji Speedway with more points in the back pocket. Gael Valero over that last lap came down into the pits, made his pit stop out and away, and they're changing Espes and Maciejewski as Lemonek now your championship leader pits, Peter.
So Lemonek, he's going to have to make those soft tyres go 14 laps unless he elects to go for the hard, of course, at which point we'll see if that's going to work or not. Into the pits he goes. The rest carry on. So is Lemonek going to try a slightly different strategy of things than the rest? Out he goes and rejoins in 9th place.
And he rejoins then on a hard compound tyre, and there is going to be a crucial gap for him as he is clear by 4 seconds. This was the pass then between Pablo Espes and Jakub Maciejewski into turn 7. It's one of the prime places to get it done on the track. That bread and butter basics, Kenny.
The big thing to notice about that pass is that it was completed before turn 7. Many times this afternoon, we've seen guys try to make an inside or outside charge in turn 7. It has not worked. Here comes Ben Fuller in for the first and probably only time this race. Eduardo Leo's going to stay out an extra lap. So will Xavi Ross and Manu Kubo Torres. They are also going to stay out for another lap. So Fuller trying to pin it in already. 14 laps to go. We'll see where he lands.
Now, the crucial thing here is if you can extend this one 3 more laps here, Peter, the soft becomes viable. At this moment in time, Ben Fuller making his stop, 7.6 seconds stationary in the box as he looks to get away. Now, where's he going to come out? Who's that going by him? That's Tamas Simon for Bolotze Vex, so he's perfectly clear of Przemysław Lemonek. He will retain the net race lead.
So Ben Fuller, ever the status quo returns then for the Apex Racing driver, and is he going to be the one to take control here on the streets of Detroit? He really does need the points if he's going to mount any kind of challenge here in the second half of the season. He sits on 39 as opposed to Lemonek's 75 right now, so this is a must-win scenario for the Indiana driver.
This is must win. It is an absolute 100%. Put it in the bank. He's not got a podium yet this season, yet every single race we talk about him being in a winning position. In comes the SDK gaming car. Manuel Kubo Torres. Then in number 6, Kenneth is in.
He's in, but the drivers in front are not. Xavi Rosa and Eduardo Leo didn't even think about coming down pit road this lap. We might see them come in the next 2 or 3, but an interesting call here by Torres to practically go in all by his lonesome. Ben Fuller and Dama Shimon are going to make their way by. We presume that Lemonek is going to do the same. He will right at the exit of turn 2. And so right there goes Lemonek past out of the corner. And for Torres, he's going to fall right behind Pablo Espes. So this is going to be interesting to see how he's going to cycle out in comparison to them and if he can make a move before the race is over. But Espes here, they're trying to catch up to Lemonek, and it has not worked for the moment. It's been a little tough as we watch the cars behind try to make moves, and Eduardo Leo is going to stay out another lap.
Yep, so he's staying out. I'll tell you what, that was crucial from Manuel Kubo Torres there, PT. Got out just ahead of Jakub Maciejewski and has been able to hold him behind. But this is going to be a very big opening lap for him on that set of tyres because he's immediately put into defense mode. Jarl Tyen for Borosund comes in.
And I think the longer you can run into here to try and make the soft stint at the end be as short as possible, the better. So Jarl Tyen, he's going to have to make the soft last about the same as our former leader Simone Maria Marcheno did in the opening stint. Oh, now that's interesting. That's very interesting. So there's cars that are going to have to run longer on this second stint with a soft on the car. So, interesting. I think we'll see Leo Ross. Whoa.
Oh, look how close they're fighting. This is brilliant stuff on the straight to turn 3. Chances then around the outside. Jarl Tyen, nothing to do. Pretty much hung out there. Brilliant stuff, but there's nothing that Maciejewski can do. Brutal from Manuel Kubo Torres. You shall not pass.
Yeah, he was physical on that play there on Maciejewski and just slightly nudged him at the exit of turn 3. But Maciejewski is going to take the fight to turn 7. Down the straight, he'll be on the outside this time, but he won't complete it. Wants to avoid any trouble. He attempts a crossover, but at this point, now you shut the door on making any overtaking attempts for now. Maciejewski is going to hold back, but this is a great blend for Jarl Tyen, who's stuck right behind this battle and might have the opportunity at 2 for 1 later in this race.
In come the top 2, so Ben Fuller now will cycle back out into the race lead. This group having a scrap may really help Eduardo Leo, who's just come out of the pits. He's behind Przemysław Lemonek, and Pablo Espes might want to get in for the podium. This now effectively becomes a net battle here for 6th place in this race. They've allowed Xavi Rosa to go through. Here comes Maciejewski on the outside. He's trying to find the pass that gets it done, and as he sweeps around the outside, bang! In the tyres and out.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, Leo and Ross, curiously, although they pitted latest, they've gone on to the hard tyre. So with the sprint to the flag, you would have expected them to go on the soft. No, they've gone for the hard. Strange call.
I tell you what, they're trying to prioritise the finish here. The soft tyre, of course, crumbles, and they don't want to deal with just how much power they put through the torque through those rear wheels. That's crucial. The gap at the front is 1.5 seconds. Here's another look at Maciejewski at this moment in time. Round the outside, you never get the sense, Kenneth, that he's fully clear to take the corner.
Yeah, he's not. And again, narrowness beats everything. No matter how courageous you're going to be on that attempted pass, the space does not absolutely care. It will take you out whenever it has the chance to, and it will punish you for an attempted move like that. Maciejewski, unfortunately, paying the price on that one. But there's drama, Jake, involving the race leader. While Ben Fuller is up around half a second over Przemysław Lemonek, he had contact with lap car Charlie Sears. It took Sears out of this race, and watch this, entering the corner, entering turn 3. Sears a little slow. Fuller gets into him. That's front wing damage for car 55. How much will that hamper him in the final 10 laps of the race?
Lots. Look at him. Przemysław Lemonek's all over him. He's like a rash. This is incredible. Ben Fuller, not for the first time this season with front wing damage, now has got to try and do the impossible. Look how they stack. Leo's there now. Espes will join the scene, Peter.
Well, I was not expecting that. Poor old Ben Fuller just seemed a little bit out of his control there, and he is a sitting duck now, as well as Lemonek goes to go around the outside. Fuller fighting like a lion here for all his work, but you feel this is a matter of time. He hits the wall again hard. That's not going to help, and Leo gets stuck behind Fuller a little bit on the run into turn 2, but Fuller continues to defend, and Lemonek just got to show some patience here because Fuller is a wounded animal. You do not want to force the issue too much. He will get his chance, but I think Lemonek's now got damage.
Look, this is the key. When an animal fights wounded, it fights and it scraps and it's savage. And this is the key. And Przemysław Lemonek's not happy on the radio either. He talked about preserving the car. He didn't hear. Here comes Eduardo Leo. Inside a 7, takes second.
Leo for the attack, and he's got it, and he almost found pressure with Pablo Espes right behind in the 5, who may have a chance to say something at Lemonek for this 3rd spot. It is getting so contentious and tight. They're trying their dearest to get by Fuller 3 wide at the exit of turn 11. Will they survive? Yes, they will, and it looks like Lemonek making contact with Pablo Espes, and Xavi Ros hits the wall, exit turn 13.
Oh, and it's all starting to combust now. There goes Super Xavi. Round the outside, he's maybe the only clean car of the top 5 at the moment. He's now up into 3rd. Here's a look for the race lead. Chance goes for Eduardo Leo as he looks to make the move around the outside. Fuller hands it in there. Too deep, Eduardo. Bang, Xavi Ros as well.
Oh my word, Fuller, he's fighting like a lion here, and somehow the attrition's happening behind him and they falter behind. So Fuller, with a wounded Dallara Iro 1, all of a sudden has got a 2.5 lead over Xavi Ros, who I don't think is he got damage, or is he clean? I always lose count of the amount of damage we've seen so far in this last couple of laps. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Who said you couldn't overtake on street circuits as well?
Well, this is manic at this moment in time. Everybody is just trying to find themselves with a finish in this race. Pablo Espes and Xavi Ros. How Xavi Ros still has a car, I do not know at this stage. He's got very, very lucky, but he's got 8 laps. Let's dissect this here. Going for the race lead, he was going for his 2nd straight win here, Kenneth, was Eduardo Leo, but he overcooked it.
Yeah, you can see the smoke billowing out of one of the tires as Pablo Espes makes a move on the inside of Xavi Ros, who's still trying to deal with his damage. But Jake, yeah, I can echo you there. I have no idea how Xavi Ros still has a race car at the end of all of this. His nose went directly in the air, and somehow he came away with just minor front wing damage. He can still hold on for a podium or even a top 5 in this race if push comes to shove. I don't know how Superman did not get hit by the Kryptonite in that specific sequence, but Eduardo Leo, heartbreaker for him, going for his 2nd straight win, ultimately ends up in a DNF from Detroit.
Wow, it's all now coming to a head here at the Motor City. You talk about how pressure affects drivers, and it really does mean that either you crumble or you turn into diamonds. This, of course, Peter, the city that does it, Madonna, Eminem, you talk about this being a place of magic and mystique. This is a place that you look at and go, someone's going to come out of here tonight looking like an absolute diamond, and it might be Pablo Espes. The gap down to half a second.
Well, I think it's that Hollywood storyline, isn't it, for Ben Fuller, how he's had damage and still defending despite. I mean, it looks like his chips are down, but he is still able to keep all of his challengers at bay. How Xavi Ros is still going, I'll never know after that hit. And Przemysław Lemonek, you talk about the pressure. Well, he folded under that pressure, just got a little bit impatient. He's now back in 6th and heavily wounded. Look at the straight line speed deficit that Fuller has there in the lead. It looks like Espes is going to be able to get a run now, but goes to the outside. Fuller's all over the road trying to keep him at bay.
I tell you what, he's got the widest car here in Detroit. You've got Xavi Ros on the back as well. He might want to get in this one, might the Barcelona man. But now, at this point, Ben Fuller, the man from Indianapolis, Indiana, is now trying to hold the weight of the world behind him, Kenneth. This is huge. 1 and 2, left and right, and in your tower is Xavi Ros, searching to try and get back into 2nd.
Ben Fuller is just fighting like B-Rabbit on 8 Mile. He's making sure that he can defeat anybody in this battle of attrition with 5 laps to go. Pablo Espes now has to worry in his rearview mirror. Xavi Ros not too far behind, entering turn 3. You can imagine, though, that Espes had at least 2 or 3 opportunities to get by Fuller, and his frustration has to be growing on the fact that the opportunities are limited, and if he does not take advantage, his race for the win is going to be over. He'll try this time entering turn 7, but he's a little too far back.
I tell you what, Przemysław Lemonek is dropping like a stone. He's now back in 7th position, and all the while, championship points are dropping, and this situation keeps changing. A little bit of a slide then as they go through. As 2nd and 3rd becomes the key focus. Pablo Espes is having to look behind at Xavi Rose for a moment.
Well, although Lemonek is shedding positions, he actually may even come out of Detroit here with an increased championship lead, because David Toth in 2nd, he's only 13th at the moment. Nunez, nowhere to be seen. Tyan, Tyan is probably the closest competitor in 4th, so he might drop a few points to Tyan, but Tyan sits 26 points behind the lead. So Lemonek, although this is not going well right now, he still will come out as the championship leader if things stay as they are.
I tell you what, it's getting close, and look at Jarl Tyan. He was 2 seconds back a lap ago. He's there, Kenneth. He's the quickest of the lot.
It just shows you, Jake, how much either Fuller is holding up these guys and Espes and Ross, or just how hard Espes and Ross are fighting for the position, because they're slowing each other down. Look at the contact there. Xavi Ross almost making a move on the inside for turn 7. And Pablo Espes says, no, I'm not having any of that. Look who's behind them too. Manuel Cubo Torres has made it a 5-car battle, going for 3 laps to go.
Ben Fuller is having the defense of his life at the moment, and everybody behind him is now just desperate. It's a swarm trying to get through. On board with Jarl Tyan. He sees Xavi Rose to the inside. In comes Ben Fuller. He couldn't last any longer. He dives into the pit. Xavi Rose leads. Here comes Tyan. He takes 2nd.
Wow, so Ben Fuller, he must have got more damage, because he's clearly been given the mechanical warning flag to come in and get the damage repaired. That's his race done. So now Xavi Ross with what we thought would have been a wounded car. Well, no, it isn't, and he is leading by 0.3 of a second. We're hearing from race control that's a drive-through for Ben Fuller. Is that for incident points?
Yes. It would be, and that's huge, because every small little tap, he's getting a 1x here and there. On for 1st, on for 3rd. Tyan looking every which way. He can't find it behind that. Manuel Cubo Torres finds himself in 3rd. Pablo Espes looking backwards now as they head past the Scott Fountain.
What a pass by Torres on Espes there. The two drivers going at it with each other, and Espes is going to have more than opportunities that he probably would expect here at this stage to try and get that last podium spot. But here are the two titans now. Xavi Ross is going to come in as well. Is that a drive-through? Yes, it is. Race control calls it. Jarl Tyan takes the race lead at Detroit.
The Norwegian is now in prime position. He's got to be so careful between now and the end of this race, because he knows how crucial this is. Manuel Cubo Torres with a little look there for SDK Gaming. This is changing on a paradigm with every single second that goes through. It's anybody's at this point, and Tyan now finds himself in position maxima.
Well, if you want proof that the best way to have racing is a car with not so much grip and huge amounts of power, well, this is it. Tyan goes to the defensive as Torres jinks to the inside, but no, can't quite do it as well. Oh, the streets of Detroit always deliver, and these drivers deliver. We can't stress enough just how difficult to drive these cars are on a circuit like this, and they are putting on a masterclass, a real show.
If these three come together, Simone is in the box seat in 4th position, but we head towards the last lap. Kenneth, it's all or nothing.
And Cubo Torres has to make use of his opportunities. He peaks outside turn 1, now turn 2. He might have a shot entering turn 3. If Tyan goes a little wide, he does. Here comes Torres. A look on the outside for the race lead entering turn 3. And Manuel Cubo Torres to P1.
Bingo! Just what he wanted, and now he must run for the last half a lap of this race. Incredible stuff by the SDK Gaming driver, and Jarl Tyan now on the defense. He's on the ropes as Pablo Espes will want to try and get in and snipe 2nd position away here at Belle Isle. Has he got away for it? No, on the brakes. They find themselves nicely together, but here comes the pick at 8 side by side. It's not quite there. Still down the inside here for 9. It's Tyan walking wounded here through 10 and into 11. Torres is gone. He's out of the way. He's out of the way and out of sight. He's done an incredible job here as he battles and masters the Motor City. Look at what it means as he wins.
What spectacular motor racing. Absolutely world-class stuff there. And you just never know who was going to survive that onslaught here on the streets of Detroit. But Torres masters it, and you just saw the elation and almost surprise as well of coming through there to win. It was just so unpredictable. Fantastic.
I tell you what, started 11th on the grid today at a street circuit, Kenneth, and is going to come up as victor.
What happens, Jake, when you're able to survive the chaos and the madness of a race like this, where the leaders were stricken by drive-thrus, where leaders got caught up in contact with lap cars, where drivers through the field were in the barriers, in the wall, with everything going on through this race, Manuel Cubo Torres becomes the 5th different winner in this 2023 season, Jake. If we're talking unpredictable, this is as unpredictable as it gets. What a win by Torres.
I tell you what, that might be the greatest 42 minutes and 21 seconds of sim racing history right there. Jarl Tyan will finish 2nd, and Pablo Espes will round out the podium. Simone Maria Marcheno stayed out of the trouble mostly, but found himself 4th come the end of the race ahead of Michael Janney and the 2 Veloce Vex cars of Tamas Simon and Matt Emery. Quiet 6th and 7th places there, but key points for the pair. Przemysław Lemonek will only get 8th place over the line, but that might still be enough to gain some crucial points, with Ben Fuller 9th and Chabi Rose, Super Chabi Rose, finding himself then in 10th position. Jakob Behrens, a great 11th for him. That was crucial points in his championship efforts, with David Toth 12th, unable to really capitalize on all the misfortune today. Gail Valero and Jacob Reed would be the last drivers on the leading lap, with Jan Hoffman, Jeffrey Decker, and Matteo Calistani classified as lap down drivers. Retirees, well, they are fruitful. Eduardo Leo, Kalen Chin, Jakub Maciejewski finding himself in with retirement, as well as Charles Sears, Carlos Feniosa, and you look there, Michele Costantini, Florian Lebigra's 4th retirement of the season, and Marcos Nunez, a hammer blow for his title efforts. We, though, have the chance to talk to some drivers, and I tell you what, Peter Mackay, you will have one very happy Manuel Cubo Torres.
Manuel, first of all, congratulations on a superb win. Just try and take us through those last few laps.
I'm still shaking, so I don't know. I just took a gamble on the strategy, especially with the fuel, and I had to let by Jarl just to make it. And basically, at the end, the pack was pretty close, and I could save it what I needed. And yeah, basically on the last lap, I had the run that I needed, and I could make the pass, and basically cross the line in P1. So really, really happy.
You know, we've seen so many top-level sim racing competitions in various cars, but it seems from the onboard footage that we see, it looks so busy in the cockpit. What is it like to drive these Dallara Aero 1s, especially around a street circuit?
It's really tricky. At least for me, I have to play a lot with the bars and stuff, and with all the bumps and trying to be as fast as possible, just to match these guys. You need really a lot of focus. So a simple mistake like missing a little bit your braking point or whatever can make you easily finish on the wall. So yeah, it was a tricky one, but hopefully we managed to do it.
Well, Manuel, again, congratulations. You are the master of the streets of Detroit. Well done, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
Here we have, I believe, Kenneth Bueno, who's going to stand by with Jarl Tyan.
Man, unbelievable, Jarl. It is another podium put on for this season. The consistency is getting to you, but I mean, you got to talk about those last couple of laps. Leaders coming in for drive-thrus. You lose the lead on the last lap. You're fighting the hardest you can fight to stay alive at the waning laps of this race. What was that like behind the wheel?
Yeah, the fact that I even had a shot at the win was kind of out of the blue. But yeah, a lot of mistakes ahead, it seems, and a lot of holding up unnecessarily at the front, I think. So definitely lucky to finish P2, and I had a chance at the win, but I made a move at Xavi, and yeah, maybe a misunderstanding or whatever, but front wing damage, Xavi had to pit. I'm in the lead with front wing damage, and no chance to hold up Manel for the win there. But still extremely lucky and grateful for P2 finish. I feel bad for my teammates that was in a better position early in the race, but they encountered some unfortunate events.
It was a race well fought nonetheless, and I want to probably say that tough is the word to describe what it's like to drive this car, because we were looking at the onboards and they were just absolutely chaotic behind the wheel. What difficulties did you face over the course of the race, with the street course race being the first and only time we'll see it on the schedule?
Yeah, for me, the traffic was the most brutal part. I made some comments on the chat in game. I'm sure you heard, and yeah, the traffic is what really counts around here. Any traffic, and you just lose a lot of time. And as you can see, it came down to the wire, and the fact that I lost, several seconds in traffic, it could have been a lot easier. But that's the way it is. Everybody else also had traffic, so just got to take second place with open arms and just be happy with it.
It's a resilient P2 here from Detroit, and you came into this race in the top 5 in point standings. What does this podium mean to you in terms of your quest for the championship now that we're in the second half of the year?
Yeah, I mean, this is crucial. Just 4 races to go now. So now is the time for consistency. I don't think getting wins and podiums are the most efficient strategy. I think the most efficient strategy is to avoid those non-point finishes. And I've finished in the points every round so far, and it seems to be working out.
Meaningful points here from Belle on a race that you had to work hard to get to where you were, but it's the second place here from Detroit. Y'all, on behalf of our entire broadcast team, congrats on the top 3 finish. We'll see you at the next race, Fuji, in 1 week time.
Thank you so much, guys.
Y'all tying with an absolutely insane P2 finish here at Detroit. We'll toss it over to Pablo Espes, who's caught up with Peter Mackay after finishing 3rd.
Pablo, that was one of the craziest finishes to a race we've seen in a long time here on iRacing. What was it like being in the middle of that action?
It was very, very, very difficult to race here. I was very nervous at the end, and I have front wing damage. I think a lot of drivers have front wing damage. So it's very difficult and funny to race with that, guys.
And amongst all that, crazy action, you still looked on our onboard camera, still quite relaxed. How do you stay calm in these kinds of conditions?
I can say that I was not calm. So you only have to do the correct things at the right moment, and be very focused to don't do any mistake.
And running into the end of the season now, 4 rounds to go. What's going to be the plan now for the next 4 rounds?
The plan will be the same as until round 1. We on all the races we have the pace, but in the first races we have very bad luck, and we weren't able to show it, but I think we are working very good, and the team is doing a very good job. So in the next races we will do the same and try to stay at the front.
Well, you drove superbly today, Pablo. Well done on the podium, and good luck for the next race.
Thanks, man.
I tell you what, we are in for a treat for these final 4 rounds of the championship, if that was anything to go by. Championship lead increases for Pajema Schwab Lemonette by 3 points, but you have Jarl Ty and you have Davidoff. They are both there, Kenneth. They are both waiting in the wings. This is by no means a done deal in the Sealed Championship, and that win by Manuel Kubo Torres puts him in the picture.
It's just the absolute parity that we saw this afternoon from Detroit. It's bringing more drivers into the conversation. Torres didn't look like he was going to be a championship driver. Now, with this win, he might be able to set up the next couple of races to be in that position. Jarl Tyne, his podiums are really paying off at this juncture, and Lemonek is able to survive this time by. But who knows what might happen at Fuji in the next couple of races, whether we'll see another toss-up for the title this year. It's all down to the next couple of races, but Detroit certainly made it fun to watch.
I tell you what, it absolutely has, but there is, of course, so much on the horizon. This, in 1 week's time, is the key. Mount Fuji and the Fuji International Speedway, an absolutely incredible racetrack in every single sense. You can catch that with us 1 week from today, October 26th at 7 p.m. GMT. But Peter, there is more than that as well, because this weekend, SCCA runoffs.
I can't wait for that to join you there, Jake, in the commentary box for a full day of action. And it's a day that's open to all iRacing members. If you have a subscription, most of the cars are free. The circuit is free at VIR. It's a cracking circuit. And come and join us. Come and join the fun in the SCCA runoffs. It's something for everyone. And at the top, it's going to be quick.
It's going to be fast, it's going to be frantic, and it's going to be fun. But what an incredible showcase of racing today it was. Magical Manel masters the Motor City, but a furore awaits at Fuji. Who will stand to challenge Przemysław Lemonek at the top of this championship? Well, if anything was to be said after Belle Isle, it looks like everybody is in the picture and everybody has a point to prove.